Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Let us go for the next important topic, that is correcting misapplied customer payments. What do you mean by this one? It is basically divided into three parts. The first part is wrong invoice and right customer. It means that if customer pay for invoice number 1 but mistakenly we make a receipt in the QuickBook for invoice number 2. So how we can correct this one? It means customer is the same but invoice is wrong. One option. Second option, wrong invoice, wrong customer. Invoice pay, a customer pay for example, Ahmad pay for invoice number 1, but we consider this receipt not for Ahmad, but we consider it for Mahmoud. It means Ahmad pay, but we consider as receipt from the Mahmoud side. How we can consider, how we can adjust it in the QuickBook. But the good thing is that the amount which we receive from the wrong customer is not yet deposited to the bank account. And option number 3 is wrong invoice, wrong customer, but deposited into the bank account. It means we receive from Ahmad, but we make a receipt in the QuickBook for Mahmoud. It means we made the wrong receipts, right? Ahmad paid, but we consider as Mahmoud. But the thing is that the amount which you receive from the wrong customer is already deposited into the bank account, right? So there are 3 points. But first of all, let us go for the first one, which is very simple. Wrong invoice and right customer. Wrong invoice and right customers. Customer is the same, but invoice is wrong. What are the steps for adjusting this one? Receive a payment. See, for example, I am receiving a payment from Ahmad or one of my customers. Later on, I understand that this receipt was not belong to invoice number 1, but this was belong to invoice number 2, but mistakenly I have marked it as invoice number 1. So how can you adjust this one? Go for the customer section, select the specific customer. It means after clicking on the customer center, select the specific customer, select the invoice, double click this one, take the right customer and take the wrong customer and then save it. How can you do this one? Go for the customer section, go for the receipt payments, select one of the customer, for example, by the name of, we can say Shapur, right? Shapur, for example, paid this one, bill number 30, we can say this one, 20, bill number 16. So let's say, for example, I have saved this one. So the next bill is how much? 23. I have saved this one, I have closed. Later on, I understood that when Shapur paid for the next bill, bill 23, but not for the bill number 16. In order to adjust that one, so first of all, go for the customer, click on the customer center, then once again, click on the Shapur, click on the payment, which was 26,000, something like that, 26. So double click this one. If you double click this one, so now all bills are there. The wrong bill is there as well as the right bill is there. And take the wrong bill and take the right bill, right? So the remaining amount should be considered as of course, as underpayment. So now save this one. If you save this one, the transaction is over. Once again, if you come back to the receipt payments, you come back for the receipt payment. So bill number 16 is available for Shopper, right? But bill number 23 is still available. Why? Because they still 3,500 something is remaining. Now let us do the opposite of this one. Let us say, for example, we want to receive this bill, 23. How much is the amount of this one? 3,750, right? Receive and make a payment. If you come back for the customer section, if you come back and collect the Shopper, right? Collect the Shopper. Can you find out the bill number 23? No, it is over. Later on, for example, once again, you think that that was the wrong one. So you have to receive bill number 26, bill number 16 instead of 23. Once again, go for the customer section. It means I'm doing the repeatedly, right? Select the customer and select the bill which you have received. Which one? 3,750. So double click this one. So and take this one and take this one, right? So definitely the extra amount will be considered as underpayments. Why? Because this bill, previous bill was only for 3,750, but this bill is for more than that. So save this one. It is okay. If once again you come back for the customer section, you can see the bill 23 for Shopper, right? You can find it. Why this is available? Because it is rejected once, right? So if this is so, we can manage in the QuickBook in this way. That was the first option. If wrong invoice, but customer is the same, right? The first. Second one, Wrong invoice and wrong customer. You have received from Ahmad, but you have considered it as Mahmoud, right? But the amount is not deposited yet to the banks. What are the steps? Receive a payment, but this is of course from the wrong customer. Initially, you do not understand that this is wrong, but later on you understand this is wrong. When you understand that the first one is wrong, so you have to go and once again and receive from the right customers. Initially, you receive from the wrong. Then after that, you have to receive from the right one. So how you can correct the wrong one? Once again, go for the customer section, select the wrong customers, select the invoice, double click, and delete the transaction which is mentioned at the top of the window. Then you have to save it. For this purpose, let us go in the QuickBook and manage it. So let us say, for example, we want to receive from one of our customers. We want to receive, for example, from whom? From Shopur. How much is the amount? Amount is, for example, equal to, not this bill, for example, this is the bill. How much we want to receive? For example, we want to receive amount of 10,000. Amount of how much? 10,000. We want to receive from Shopur, but amount is 10,000. Save and close this one. Later on, we understand that when the amount which we received from Shopur, that was not from Shopur basically, that was from some other customers. From which customers? For example, that was from Sultanat, there is no balance. From X, there is a balance. The amount which we received that was not from Shopur, the amount which we received is from whom? From X. How much was the amount? The amount was equal to amount of 10,000, right? So save this one. So two steps are done. Initially you receive from the wrong one. Now you have received from the right one. For the purpose of correcting the wrong one, you have to go for the customer section. How can you do that one? Go for the customer section, click on the customer center, select the wrong customer. Yeah, we have selected the wrong customers. Wrongly we receive from whom? From Shopur. How much we receive wrongly? We receive wrong amount of 10,000. Double click this one to open this window. When it opens, so of course it is already tagged. So click on this one, on delete. Delete this one. So now it is done, right? So now if you go back for Shopur, so the balances is still available. How much is the balance? Balance is 36. Once again, let me do this one for the next customer. For example, let me receive from the next. Let me receive once again. This time, for example, I'm receiving from Khalaf. There is no balance. Abdul Latif, for example. How much is the balance of Abdul Latif? For example, 1,20,000, but I'm going to receive only 20,000. If I receive 20,000, balance of bill for Khalaf is, for Abdul Latif is equal to how much? For this bill number 18, 1 lakh. This is, so it is 1 lakh. So once again, check that one whether it's 1 lakh or not. So after rejecting the bill, you can see the balance once again increase. Bill number 18, balance is equal to how much? 1 lakh, right? From whom? From Abdul Latif. Later on, we understood that one, this is wrong, so I have to receive from other customer by the name of Khatra. But balance is less in this example. So let us say Marwa. Marwa also balance is less. Some other customers, for example, Farouk. So I want a balance which is more than 20,000. Now it is good. So let us say, for example, the amount which I have received from Abdul Latif, that was not from Abdul Latif, that was from Ihsanullah. How much I have received from Ihsanullah? For example, amount of 20,000. Save for Ihsanullah, right? So how you can correct Mr. Abdul Latif? Once again, go for the customer center and then click this one. You can see the customer. Click on Abdul Latif. You can find out the bill of 20,000, right? Bill of 20,000. Find out the bill of 20,000 here. Yeah, this was the bill of 20 and date is 29. Double click this one. So now you can remove this one. You can delete it, right? If you delete this one, now the balance of Abdul Latif for bill number 18 is once again equal to how much? 1,20,000, right? So in this way, you can manage it. This was the second option. Now let us go for the third option. Wrong invoice as well as wrong customer, but the amount is deposited to the banks. If the amount is already deposited to the bank, so how you can adjust it? Let us do for the process. How we can do for the process? What are the process? Receive payment from the wrong one. Initially, you do not understand. Once again, I'm repeating. So, but you receive it. You receive from the wrong one, you deposit to the banks. Let us do it. Let us say, for example, let us receive it. Okay, do not record this one and close this customer section as well. Go for the customer, make a receipt. Let us say, for example, I have received from Abdul Latif and bill number 18. Once again, how much I have received? For example, I have received amount of 10,000. How much I have received? I have received 10,000 only. Mention a memo also. Memo is, for example, 11111, right? 51. I have received from Abdul Latif and it is undeposited fund, for example, and this is, for example, safe. And I've gone to the banking section. I've deposited this one into the bank as well. Which one was? That was Abdul Latif, right? Check number. This one, 10,000, it is deposited. To which bank account? To AIB bank, and that is it. So later on, I understood that one, after depositing to the bank account, I understood that one, the bill was not from Abdul Latif, that bill was from someone else. So how can you do that one? Then next, go for the receipt from the right customers. Receipt from whom? From the right customers, right? So receive from the right customers. Go once again for the customer section. So it means again receive from the right one. Let us say, for example, we want to receive from Ehsanullah. And bill number, for example, number 9, we have received equal to how much? 10,000, right? And give a reference also, for example, 2222, right? This is the case. Then save this one. So we have received from the right one. After that, go for the banking section, right? Then click on make deposit. Click on the previous until to find the previous deposit. It means the wrong deposit. Click on the payments mentioned at the top. Then deposit the correct payment. Give a memo also. Put your cursor on the wrong invoice. Click on the edit and so on. So these are the steps that we have to do, right? So now let me do. So it is a little bit complicated for you, but let me check out this one, how we can do this one. So we have received from the right one. Now let us go for the banking section. Go for the banking section. Click on make deposit, right? Cancel this one. Go click on the previous until to find out the wrong one. Until to find out what the wrong one. There is a memo also. So you can remove this memo and instead of this one, you can mention wrong one, right? Wrong one. Then click on the payments. Click on which one? On the payments. To receive the right one from Ehsanullah. The right one was from whom? From Ehsanullah, right? So how you can do this one? Once again, click on the payments. There's a payment. So click on Ehsanullah to receive the right one. Now you have received, instead of Memo 222, you can mention, for example, right one, right? Right one. That was wrong one. This is right one. And after this, click on the wrong one. Click on the wrong one. Put your cursor on the wrong one. Go in the edit. Go in the edit and delete the line. So the line which is the wrong one. So please delete this one. Delete this one. Then you can save it. Okay? Save and this. Now it is done. What is the next step? Correct. Okay. Customer section. Go for the customer section. Select the wrong customer. Delete the invoice. Of course, select the invoice, double click and delete the invoice that is already done, right? So once again, go for the customer section, select the customers. From which customer we have received and that was wrong? From Abdul Latif, right? Okay. From Abdul Latif we have received and the bill was for 10,000, right? So 10,000. No, that was not today's date and the payment. Bill for 10,000, right? So this was for 10,000, yes. So at the top, so click on the delete. If you click on the delete, now it is fine, right? So now receipt is not from Abdul Latif. Abdul Latif again bill is 1,20,000, but instead of this, receipt is from whom? Receipt is from Ehsanullah, right? Ehsanullah, previously this was 40, now it is 30. And of course, that amount of 10,000 is, of course, we can say rejected from the bank. That was rejected from the bank. If you go for the banking, use register, close all the sections, close all the section, say no, this one also. Then now click on use register, click your AIB bank. I think that was AIB bank, right? AIB. Save this one. So you can see some memos are here, right? And some amount is rejected. The rejected amount can be found out here, and that was because of we haven't given a proper memo for this, I guess. A wrong one or a right one. So you can see the rejected one as, of course, retaken it back from this account. But in order to do this one, let me do once again the process, right? Once again, how we can do it, of course, I'm doing the step number 3, or this one once again. Receive from the wrong one, deposit to the bank, right? Receive from the wrong one. For example, I have received, leave the Abdulatif and so on, go for the B. Select this one. How much I have received? I have received, for example, only 5,000, right? And give a memo. For example, the memo is, for example, 333, only 3, right? Receive from whom? Receive from B. Leave it. And now I've gone to the banking section. I have deposited to bank account B, right? Which bank account I have deposited to? Let us say, for example, I have deposited to Kabul Bank. And give a memo. See, we didn't give the proper memo here previously. Memo 333, right? Also mention, for example, Zaid at the end to consider as a specific number. Save on this one. Now let us check the balance of AIB and the balance of AZD Bank. How to check the balance? The balance of AZD Bank. The balance of Kabul Bank. How much is the balance of Kabul Bank? The balance of Kabul Bank after the transfer. Oh, it is complicated, right? So let me reduce this balance. Like AIB. Transfer some balance to this account. For example, 837 and point 77. So let us transfer this one to check the balance. Balance of Kabul Bank. Now it is how much? 24 lakh. Let us say after this transfer, balance was equal to how much? 24 lakh. Right? So clear this one. I have deposited. Let us say, for example, later on I have understood that was not from the wrong one, from the right one. So I have to receive from the right one, right? So once again, go for the payment section. So select the right one. For example, I have received from we can say another customer by the name of X. By the name of X, amount is how much? Amount is once again 5,000, right? 5,000, right? Give a memo also. Memo is, for example, this time 444, right? Save this one. This is received. So go for the banking section. Go for the banking. Click on deposit. Cancel this one. Click on the previous to find out the previous payment. The previous deposit was from whom? From B, right? So this is found out. Then click on the payments. Payments to find out the right one itself. What was the right one? The right one was from whom? From XXX. Click on this one as well. Then which one was the wrong? The wrong one was this one, right? The wrong one was the 333. Anyone which was wrong for this purpose, click on the edit, then delete the line. The line is deleted. Now save this one, right? So save and close. If you go back for the banking section, so the balance of a Kabul bank will not be more than this one. Although we have deposited the check of X as well, right? Why? Because the previous check is cancelled and the new check is accepted. The next step, in order to cancel the wrong bill, we have to go for the consumer section and select the wrong customers and so on, right? So go for the banking, go for the consumer section, select the wrong customer. Which customer was wrong? B customer was wrong, right? There was a customer by the name of B. And there was a payment of 5,000, right? So double click on this one. So at the top, click on delete. So delete this one. So this is done.